Hey guys, Nerdcore here. Today I want to go a little bit over the battles mode and show you guys how this mode works, how to play it, and more importantly, how to actually win at it a little bit. We'll be going over kind of the basics of how it works, how those things fit together, and how to get into a good battle. Hang out, let's talk battles. Alright, so battles is a little different from your normal Fuser gameplay in that it is competitive when you're playing against another player and trying to reduce their energy to zero by using songs with higher strength, by dropping them with the correct timing, matching the different crowd requests, and basically knowing when and where to drop. So downbeats are the first beat of a bar, so that's your normal, hey, great pickup downbeat. Special one is called a phrase. This is every fourth beat. So how this actually works is that on your timeline you have notches for every 8. These are normally where the music changes in some way. Each of those are phrases, and then halfway between those is also a phrase. Dropping on this is basically a wildcard pickup. Any song can be dropped on the phrase to get +5 plus any crowd bonus that it matches. So this is a way to let you play more songs with higher strength more often. Every time the attack timer fills, you deal damage based on the difference between your discs and the opponent's discs. In this example they gave in the tutorial, it's you have 15 strength, the opponent has 5, so you're going to deal 10 damage to them. Players have 120 energy at the start of the match, and that is reduced to 0 as things go. Happens every single time the disc fills up. After the disc fills up, each disc in the mix currently loses 1 strength. It gradually fades to 0. When it hits 0, it is locked out and kicked out of the mix. This is more of a defensive game. We'll get into that a little bit later, but you are basically looking for opportunities to change the balance of energy right before damage. And that's a good way to think of it, is every time that versus circle fills up, you really want to make sure that you're dropping right before them and knocking out an opponent's disc, because that lets you deal more damage. That is, of course, how you knock other discs out of the mix, is playing a stronger one. And it is locked until it hits 0, so you can't just randomly swap out discs to keep them at a high strength. One of the things that doesn't explain very well is that when you drop a disc into the mix, if you've dropped it in the previous 32 bars, it will get -2 to its strength. This is represented by a gray circle in the interface, and that lets you know that if you drop that again, it's going to be negative. This also applies if your opponent has recently played the disc in the mix. It doesn't always enforce this, so just keep an eye out. Try not to play the same thing as your opponent, because it also gets locked when they play it as well, sometimes. Your queue does work a little bit differently. You can't just swap discs into the queue and out of the queue. You have to wait for your bar to fill up. This bar is filled up by taking damage, dealing damage, and hitting pickups. So this is very easy to fill very, very fast, especially if you take a lot of damage, and it is used mostly to clear the opponent's discs right before damage is dealt and get a really big hit of damage in to either finish the match or not at all. Basically win 2 rounds to win the battle, and you can get some rewards out of it. They're pretty cool too, so it's a good way to get them. Right, let's talk rewards. So there are a total of 6 tiers, 2 battles. Each one of those is made up of 10 levels, and you get a reward at the 6th and 1st tier of each level. So you can get some pretty cool stuff. So right now it is scales for opener, the cowhide prints for the cowboy hat, the strap pants, the leopard print style shorts, which are very exciting, and the leopard print track jacket. For chart topper, you get the actual tiger print tank top, which is really cool, and tiger print goth pants, which are the ones with that big flag on them. And then at star tier, you get my personal favorite, the corgi shirt and the corgi pants. So these do match the corgi set that came out as DLC. So if you have that, this actually lets you complete that with a much more unified look, and they look really good. So here in this clip, you're going to see me do some battling with a person that doesn't respond, so we'll go over some of the mechanics as they're live. Right off the bat here, you'll see that I started using a disc on the very, very first beat of the bar, because that is actually a phrase bonus. This lets me, with the cascading pickups in Body Like a Back Road, start off with all my discs at 3, 4, 5. So you'll notice that I'm always looking for a place to drop the discs so that they get a phrase and a crowd bonus at the same time. Phrases generally are when the crowd bonuses change, so if you can hit it right as it comes up, you're able to get a 10 power disc, which is really good for getting into actual battles. You're going to see the opponent replace my vocal disc here in a second. This is actually good priority. So one of your biggest priorities during battles is to make sure that you knock out the highest possible disc that you can to prevent the most damage. Here in this clip, you're going to see an actual full battle, 2 matches, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing here and why, and talk about one or two more of the mechanics that's not directly exposed. So here again, it's me opening on body like a back rope, missing it miserably. You can see the difference between the 2 starts, of me hitting it perfectly and then missing, and how big of a difference that makes.
Something like 6 weeks. Now me and her go way back, like Cadillac seats.
There I'm prioritizing the upcoming damage disc. By knocking out the 8, I change the balance of the mix back into my favor quickly for the least investment and the least number of discs. You'll notice as I take damage, my Q meter fills up. A smart battles player can take enough damage to rush their Q meter and then immediately respond for a win.
Full of girls and just going real swell. The next stop is the East Side Motel.
You can see the opponent too prioritizing my larger discs. They'll do that here in a little bit and kind of get an advantage for a little while. So dropping that 12, for instance, is a good prioritization of my highest opening disc that they can match. And with the yellow, they prioritized damage as well. Here I'm going to set up a super drop. Again, super drops are how your Qs work in battles, and you're going to be looking to match the crowd bonus as much as possible. So here, this is a dance in 1990s, so I'm going to use Party Rock Anthem and Regulate to drop a lot of discs at once at 10, 11, and 7. He dropped Hot Stuff at the same time to match it, which knocked out my disc, so I had to come back and use Regulate to catch up and knock out. You'll notice sometimes the crowd bonuses don't exactly update. This is an internal bug inside of the battles program. Don't worry about it. Read what your opponent's doing, you can guess. Here I'm going to use an 11 to counter his 3 to put me even further ahead on board. Now it isn't the most exciting way to win, but I should have dropped on the drums there, but it does put me ahead. Upcoming here, you're going to see me deal more damage than he has left. This is a mechanic I've been calling Last Chance. You can't knock out an opponent in one attack. You always have to hit them twice. This is to give people a chance to respond because of the way the battles work. It's also one of my favorite mechanics because winning from Last Chance is pretty awesome. So, hang on a second, I'm going to knock out 1 or 2 of his discs and put him in Last Chance. Okay.
My money on my mind, got a meal out the deal, and I'm still in the grind. I tell you, feeling my cash, feeling my flow. A girl from with it,
there's Last Chance. See, he'll flip it back on me for a little bit, and then I'll be able to come back here in a second for the knockout. Super drop to actually knock him out. It was my best work, but hey, it happens. On the openers, if you're able to match the first crowd bonus, you'll miss the first pickup, but be able to hit the crowd bonus, which may be better in the battle depending on what you need to have happen. Again, you can see me prioritizing the bigger discs to get into the lead. It's really key that battles is not an offensive game, it's a very defensive game. Guys, I hope that helps out with you and playing battles. I do stream every Monday and Friday at 6:30 a.m. CST, so I hope you guys come join in and play some battles in Fuser with us. So see you guys around.